And welcome. This is PsychicMediumRoberto, and I truly hope you're doing well. May we be guided and blessed by Spirit during the reading. Trigger warning: the subject matters of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. All cases, names, people are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. The Louvre Museum. So if you're waking up in the world on Sunday morning, the 19th of October, news breaking that the world-famous museum was attacked and robbed. And the thieves got away with some pricey materials. And here's a picture here. If you're watching the visuals, they say 7 or 8 different pieces. But of course, it has significant value, not just monetary, but culturally in France. And of course, I'm feeling that French connection coming in, having some kind of connection to France. It pinged on me. But when I started looking at the numbers, I will say there's something off about the situation. I don't believe it is as clear-cut as it may seem. I feel there's something else going on as well in the background. And just to bring us up to speed in terms of what is happening in France, I did a dipstick research. I just typed in what is happening in France. And for example, articles that popped up 5 days ago. Political turmoil in France weighs on business and investors. Then 4 days ago, Reuters, Macron legacy evaporates as France political and fiscal woes mount. Broken promises, now this is 2 days ago, The Guardian, broken promises and political crisis. So it looks like the Macron there is having some issues. And then 22 hours ago, political chaos in France could derail EU security initiatives. And that is by the Washington Post. So we can appreciate there's some turmoil in France. And in most countries in the current situation, economics is in the balance. And being in a 10 months speaks about money, large money, insurance money. So I'm just going to point out some key indicators that concern me. I've brought in some other people's date of births. For example, the kingpin of the so-called Pink Panther gang, Dragan Mikic. Then we got the French date of birth, October 4, 1958. We got the French Secret Service, November 27, 1943. And then I've even got Macron himself here. And I'm just going to point out, because Macron is so much in the news at the moment, just as an interest point, December 21, 1977. So in the first row, he has a conflict, 12-3, 21-3. In the first 2 rows, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s. And I suppose if you in politics or you want to be the number one, you're going to need numbers like this. So we see with Macron, lots of 6s, lots of 3s. Now, I'm not wanting to get into anybody's personal space. His number stood out for me for a particular reason, in that this whole issue going around with him and his wife, what is that all about? Whether his wife is, I don't know. That whole situation seems weird. What I did want to say with Macron, with all these 3s, he does have a soft touch. Let's get into the show of the time. So October 19th, so the incident happens at 9 a.m. more or less, just as the museum opens. And that is, if you're watching the visuals, the blue block, which is the second row of numbers. So we find hidden 29-11-2, hidden 20 outcome 2, and 11-2 outwardly, and a 9 of the year. That's the zone in which the crime takes place. Preceding that, the start of the day, there's a problem here. So we got October, which is 10-1, and we got the 19, which is 19-10-1. So technically we have a 10-1-10-1 conflict here. So let's just say with the 19-10-1 full operation, we can see the day before, October 18. The outcome of the day is 37-10-1, 28-10-1, 19-10-1, 10-1, loops into the next day, 10-1 still going on. So there's definitely operation happening here. We can see at the doorstep of the crime is all these operational numbers. Now here's where things get a bit weird, right? 37-10-1, that's a significant number because it doesn't necessarily deal with, let's say, a syndicate like the Pink Panther gang. 37-10-1 is a little bit more higher up than that, so let's keep an eye on that. And we have the 28-10-1, 19-10-1. The day after, so in the zone, we'll start the zone 29-11-2, 20 outcome 2. So we have all these 11s on the day. So that's definitely law has been broken, serious crime. 20, the following day. So we got a 10-1 plus 20 outcome 2 with a 9 as the outcome of the sequence, which for me is also problematic. And it's kind of confirmed now as I'm looking at it. You know, did these guys make a getaway as quick as possible? In other words, they hit the museum, they drive off in their motorbikes or whatever they drove off in, mopeds, scooters. But what it's also telling me is they may have already left France. There's a 20 outcome 2 at the end of the day, water. And when the day starts with, so the heist happens, then we get to midnight to sunrise. 20 outcome 2 can also indicate water. So whoever took these jewels may have already left the area within 24 hours. Within 24 hours. And we can get confirmation of travel if we look at the intention at the end of the day, 14-5. That's international travel, crossing borders. So in my opinion, these guys may have already left the area. But what I was going to say about these 10-1s and this 20 outcome 2, I'm getting the impression. So the first impression that I got when I initially started looking at these charts, one, why would someone steal their own jewels? Or why would the government steal their own jewels? So let's see if we have some issues here. There's definitely already conflicts. 10-1, 10-1 is government issues. 10-1, 10-1 is government issues. At the end of the day of October 19, this 20 outcome 2 causes an emotional distress, naturally, on the French people and those that have visited the museum and know the value of these jewels. Let's continue and see if we can find any other anomalies. So I will just say, for example, October 21 is the first time we see a number 40 outcome 4, which is the crime boss. 40 outcome 4 is the crime boss. But I'm also, so there is evidence of a crime boss involved. And that crime boss is evidence in the day before in the intention. But, when I look at this, something is not making sense. All right, so let's have a look. In the intention on the, just before sunrise on the day, 22-4. There's the plan. Now we'll note in the intention, we've got all of these 4s here, which also, yes, brings in military. 4s can bring in a military element, small scale element, even militia with the 15-6 in the zone. Let's see. I'm just going to point out numbers issue first. Then we have what bothers me here. Now, this is where the other side of the story comes in possibly, and that is the night before in the action, there's all these 7s here. Now, that for me is problematic. 16-7 can bring around things like surveillance, and of course they would have been casing out the place for a while. But the night before, we got a 43-7 made to look like 16-7. Something else was going on as well with these people or whoever was involved there. There's something else going on here. Could that have been the real motive behind the theft of the jewels? Now, in the +6, in the action, on the day, we see 44-8. That is jewelry. 44-8 is the big jewelry number, high-value jewelry number. All the 8s are also all the jewels, minerals. 8s is what you find when you're looking at minerals, diamonds, stones of value, even crystals. So in the action, it ends with the 26-8. Could be a staging number. We've got in the +1, in the action, we've got a 9+9 conflict here. There's also evidence of a double cross. For example, we find it in the 29-11-2. That is on the day after the fact, 29-11-2. So someone hires a group of people to get the stolen goods, right? To get the jewels. The people who get the jewels are taken out or rendered useless, and the jewels are gone. I believe there may have even been a double cross here. In the outcome, so all is revealed, why would there be a 28-10-1 here? So what I'm saying is, and we are going to look at another heist, by the way, just so we get confirmation. So, for example, there's a crime accredited to the Pink Panther Group, which happened on October 6, 2007. And I'm on that chart now. If you look at the numbers at surface value, right? October 5, we got a 15-6 in the middle of the day, 24-6, 15-6. October 6, we have a 16-7 in the middle of the day, 25-7, 16-7. October 7, which would be the +1 day, and this was the heist, beg your pardon, that took place at the Harry Winston store in Paris. Now, I saw a number of different cases, but this one included 4 people, also 4 people getting away with $37 million. So if you're looking at the visual presentation, the numbers of October 5, 6, and 7 on the surface look very normal, regular people type numbers, right? Whereas when you look at what happened in France, these are very big operational numbers. Yes, we can say there was a lot of planning, high operation. This was high level operation, yeah. As simple as it may have seemed, with the buggy outside with the ladder, they quickly grab or cut out the jewels. There was a lot of planning and sophistication around this. Now, in the action, when things are going down, in the zone of the crime, in the middle, 17-8, pings on, I'm going to just call him Dragon. So we can say, okay, it pings on him. There's some measure of ping, but we've got all these hidden numbers, 26-8, 35-8. There's more going on behind this heist than meets the eye. Now, a classic test for me personally. You will recall, if you watch in real time, the doorstep or the door before the crime or the day before the crime reveals in many cases who the perpetrators are. And for example, in this case, we see all these high-level operational numbers. We see all the 7s. Now, if there was inside help, those 7s, because that 7 continues to the next day. In the action of the crime, we have a 25-7. So was security involved? Could be security. It could even be a cleaning service. 7 also brings around people of authority. 43-7, 34-7. Something is not right about this heist. I don't believe it's straightforward as we may think. Now, if we look at the French and the Secret Service, look at their outcome numbers: 37-10-1, 28-10-1, 19-10-1, matches the numbers before. So let's say, for argument's sake, and I'm just pointing out significant sequences, right? Let's say the heist happens where it happened, on the 19th. If 37-10-1, 28-10-1, 19-10-1 was on October the 20th, if it was the day after, then I would say the impact is on France, because the jewels are mighty important for the cultural aspect of the country. But why are there numbers before the event? Before, not after, before. Then we've got the Secret Service. And the reason why I brought the Secret Service in, the French Secret Service, is because there was a private investigator keeps mentioning them in these videos that I was watching. So I thought, let me look at their date of birth. November 27, 1943. In their day position, 29-11-2, hidden 20 outcome 2, 38-11-2 is a direct match on the day that the crime goes down. 11-2, hidden 20 outcome 2, 29-11-2. It's an exact match to the Secret Service numbers. In the +9, all is reveals the 38-11-2, which is present in the Secret Service numbers. There's it there, 38-11-2. What is going on here? The Secret Service numbers: 55-10-1, 37-10-1, 28-10-1, 19-10-1. All present except for the 55, all present the day before. I'm going to say there were at least 2, possibly 3 groups involved here. So what do I mean? There's a group that organized this, there's a group that did it, and there's a group that sorted everything out at the end. So in the intention, the outcome 14-5 shows there's a group. In the zone, there's a 14-5. So there's your 4-man team or your small group of people. But this was planned, of course, 22-4. But you see, this is the riddle I was getting. So let's take, for example, the intention. 14-5, 23-5 hidden, 32-5 hidden. But outwardly, it includes the 32-5, 23-5, 45. So what I was trying to get the sense of is what is hidden is also in the open. And what is in the open is also hidden. So I'm going to say there's more to meets the eye behind this case. I don't believe it's a simple gang like the Pink Panther gang that comes up with a brazen idea to steal jewels and they run off into the sunset. There's something else going on here. There's definitely elements of an inside job here, and that is brought around by the 7s the night before. I am picking up the 14-5. Now, this is during the heist. 14-5 in the intention also matches the French number. So you can see what is happening here. There's a lot of matches before and during. Why would there be so many matches with France Secret Service before? If their numbers were after, then we can say, well, there's an impact on France. But there's collusion going on here between state and criminals, in my opinion. So let's go a bit deeper in the heist that took place October 6th. And we've got Dragon's numbers here. So look, after the heist, this is October 6th, then we see Dragon's numbers, right? So in other words, the heist is happening, and he's the benefactor before and after, because the outcome 24/6, 15/6, the day before the Harry Winston store heist, we also ping on Dragon. Okay. Here's where things are tricky for me. So the night before the heist, we see all of these military type numbers, right? All the fours everywhere, military. But the outcome, in other words, the +1. So after the event, we see all of these sixes. But there's a 15/6 in the middle. So there's impact on Macron. And I believe that's the real impact is on him. Including in the real, there's impact on him. But there's definitely 3 organizations or groups, 3, that are involved here. And for the purpose, dare I say, France is in a very bad political state. So let's look at France and see why they're in so much trouble. So France, what is going on with France here? We are now in 2025, which is a 9-year. Next year being a 10-year, there's going to be big impact on France next year, 10, because they have a life path 10-1. We're moving into a 10-1 already. 3 months before New Year, we already start transitioning to the 10-1. France has 3 5s in the first 2 rows. That's also not good. And they have a conflict in the day. There's problems here with these numbers in France. 14/5 deals with race issues. 14/5 speaks about groupings. And the 23/5 speaks about the larger groupings. So we'll find there's a lot of difficulties in France here with all these 5s. Not very good. Too many 5s going on here. And we've just seen now that the previous president has just gone into jail. And 14/5 brings around issues of fraud, mismanagement, money mismanagement. There's too many 10s here in France numbers. The night before the heist, all the 10s are stacked up. There was something else I wanted to point out. The night before the heist, there are 3 9s in the first 2 rows. 3 9s. So something, and the day before that, October 17, there's a 9+9 conflict here. So why would there be all of these 9 issues? Lots of 9 issues. This, in my opinion, this was not only a gang. Yes, there is a gang, 14/5, but there's other players involved here. Government level, high level. And I kept on getting the impression, why would someone steal their own jewels? Why would a government steal their own jewels? It's that kind of level. There's something odd going on here. Would this have been used as a decoy or a let's get the citizens thinking about something else and not what is happening in France at the moment? As per these headlines, France is in chaos. And with all these fives in their numbers, hey, I wouldn't trust them at all. The government is not necessarily the people, but the government numbers here are not good. And the concerning thing is this hidden 30 on the day, in the zone of where this is happening, hidden 38, 11, 2, 29, 11, 2, 20 outcome 2, 11, 2. Secret Service, this is in the zone, hidden, same, 38, 11, 2, 20 outcome 2, 29, 11, 2, 11, 2. The day before the heist, 27-9 conflict. What does Secret Service number start with? 27-9 conflict. There's more to this than meets the eye, unfortunately. And what would be so heinous that people in power, and we're talking like legitimate power, not only crime. Oh, confirmation, I've just been reminded, there is no organized crime number here. 50, 5-0, outcome 5 is organized crime. 40, outcome 4 is like the middleman boss who probably organized the 14-5, the guys to do it. But there's I've just been shown a typical clandestine image, like someone wearing a hat and a coat in the dark. There's something else going on behind here. How bad is the French economy at the moment? What bothers me when they brought up the Pink Panther issue, right? We only see Dragon's numbers. We only see his numbers, his outcome numbers, which are 42-6, 33-6, till 6, on the +1 day after the crime. So the intention is, so in other words, was the intention to put the blame on the Pink Panther gang. Because it happens after the fact, not before. If it was them, if it was Dragon and his clan, it will be before the event, not after. So the plan, 22-4 is the master plan, 44-8, all by design. So was the intention, whoever these big 10 ones are, do the heist and put it on the gang. But what are they doing with the money? Because this is definitely all about the money, and there's a money conflict here. The whole event starts with a money conflict. So there's a money issue. There's a money issue. And when you have all of these fives in the French date of birth, I love France. I like the French people. But I'm saying, with all of these fives here, these guys will sell their mother to make money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep an eye on the news. There's definitely a layer situation to this. It's not I don't believe it's a straightforward gang. I don't believe it was the Pink Panther gang. This was partly an inside job. Some guys were brought in, but some guys were taken out. Let's keep an eye on the news. Please leave your comments. I do appreciate them. Be safe. Enjoy the day. Enjoy your evening. Bye for now.